All right, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, every other channel you can think of. We're going live today, Cary. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm excited. Week 2 of being live with someone, and I'm so happy to be hanging out with you. And feels like old days, huh?
I know it reminds me of what was it, pre-COVID, when we were doing live streams every single week for hundreds of people talking about CX. It was great.
Yeah, and I think we have a throwback topic that we're going to tackle today because we're hearing this a lot from a lot of our accounts. And the one of the buzzing questions with accounts that have been doing it for years and accounts that are new, how do I get my response rate at? How do I get more feedback from our customers?
Yeah, and I think this is a very hot topic. So much so that was it 2 nights ago I saw Seth Meyers, the late night host, talk about how people are so fed up with surveys and everything's performance based, and like you have all of these different, like if you literally fix a toilet from a plumber, you're going to get a survey. If you take an Uber ride, you're going to get a survey. People are kind of fed up, but I think the trick here is that we found in B2B specifically, there's a couple tips. We want to walk through 6 of those with everybody on the stream today. So let's just get right into it, Cary. That work for you, bud?
Yeah, I love to jump right into it. Yes.
All right. So the first one, tip one, is nail the subject line, the timing, and the survey design. So I have a couple tips here, but I'm going to throw it to you first.
Well, I'm going to throw it back to you in a second because, again, I always like to look at these campaigns like a marketing campaign in a lot of ways. There's a lot of elements that are the same, and how you communicate, how you kind of ask your customer for that feedback is really important. And I think that's one of the things that you got to, when you're thinking about the timing of this, when to send these out, always respect your audience. When are they most likely to see it and respond? And does the subject speak to what you're asking them for? And I think that makes it really irrelevant to them. And then design, I'm going to throw it back to you a little bit, right? But I mean, what's important in design, Ian? What do you see from, a crossover from marketing into these survey campaigns?
Yeah, so I definitely have like a couple core tips on this topic, which I love, by the way. It is very marketing centric. Survey design, you should test it. So everything in marketing is A/B testing, split testing. CX is no different. Like you have to treat your CX program almost like a little mini campaign, like a mini marketing campaign, which means you should test your survey design. So your email, that means like maybe you do a designed email or maybe you do a plain text email. You test which one drives the most clicks into the survey. Your subject line, you should be testing every single week, in my opinion. So like subject lines have such a crazy impact on your open rates that then spill into how many surveys actually get completed. I view it as a funnel. So literally a marketer, if you get more clicks from your subject line, you get more people to read the message and click into the survey, you're going to end up with more survey completions, which is exactly what everybody wants in the end, which is feedback into your business so you can act on it.
And
I
we're,
think,
and I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say we're seeing a trend too with subject lines that even when we start talking about these spam filters, because people are
Yeah.
tired of getting bombarded by so much communication and emails that even the spam filters now are blocking certain subject lines. So getting it right, not making it feel like a sales pitch. You're not selling anything.
No.
What you're asking for is the beginning of a relationship. Tell
Yeah.
us how we're doing. Tell us where we can improve to serve you better. And I think getting that subject line is there's a sweet spot you can find to make sure that the email gets to the person it should be.
Absolutely. And the other really cool thing that you can add to that mix is like test the sender. So sometimes it comes from the brand. Maybe the CEO sends a second message. Maybe your CSM that is managing the account or your account manager, it gets sent from them on the third message. Whatever it is, like you need to figure out that special sauce. We have kind of what we feel is the proper approach there, but like encourage you guys all to test subjects, timing, survey design, it all should be on the table. That's how you optimize into a higher response rate. Anything else
Definitely.
to add to that, Karen, before we jump to
No,
the next one, man?
no, I think that's good. That's a really good starting point.
All right, tip two. You're on
Okay,
the hot seat. Look at
I'm in
that.
the hot seat here, huh? Keep it short. I can't say this enough. And you go to a hotel, you buy a car, and they just hammer you with a survey that's 5, 10, 20 minutes long. And the abandonment rates are high, right? And we know that every question you adds time, and the longer it takes, the less likely you are to get feedback from somebody.
Yep.
There's very few people that make it to the end of long surveys. So When we say keep it short, we're serious of 2 or 3 questions max.
Yep.
And one of our practices is to use cascading drivers so people can very quickly select the reasons why they gave you a score and then have an open comment box. And we talked about this last week with Trish. Have a good AI system that can comb through those comments and pull that information out for you
Yeah.
and give sentiment. So there's definitely a lot of ways to keep these surveys short because I'd rather hear from 50, 60% of the people I survey and get a real tight question answered and get the communication started than having a very long survey with a lot of questions and only hearing from 2 or 3%.
Yeah. Absolutely. You mentioned the word drivers. So we're going to jump right to tip 3. Use drivers and personalization. So we say this a lot in our content, in our conversations with customers, but I don't know if like people really fully understand what drivers are and how they're used to personalize the experience. Can you give us a little bit more flavor
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah. So think of your drivers as what the customer experiences in their journey with you. So if you're doing a relationship survey or even a transactional survey, really be customer centric in the questions you ask. So is it the time spent? Is it who you engage with? And those are what drives the score. If you think of any relationship, you immediately start to roll in your head, oh, were they on time? Were they knowledgeable? Did they solve the problem that I'm paying them to solve?
Yeah.
And if you can craft these drivers around the customer journey of touch points within that, you're more likely to get the feedback that's important to them, but more important to you that you can actually act on as an organization.
Hmm.
So again, we don't survey just a survey. It's not about a vanity score that you put out there and show off. If that's why you're doing it, you've missed the point on the survey. We survey in order to collect feedback to make our business better for our customers,
Yeah.
right? That's who drives our success. So I think that's where the personalization comes in also. These drivers have to be relevant and important to the person you're asking these questions of. Otherwise, again, you're gonna notice you're gonna have people not click on drivers. They're gonna be useless. Remove that. It's more noise.
Yeah.
Keep it focused on the customer experience and keep it very customer centric for them.
And if we're talking about like drivers within the actual survey itself, so I think this is a tough concept for people to wrap their head around. But what we're actually talking about is self-select little boxes of like one of them could be, hey, I give you a 10, or let's go the opposite way. Why not? Let's mix it up. Let's make it spicy. So let's give you a 2, which is a detractor, and you have 5 options or 7 options. Let's say you select delivery as one of the issues that kind of resulted in that 2 score.
Yep.
Once you click on that delivery box, it drops down 4 or 5 different options, which are customizable to the company, to the brand experience that you want to create. Let's say the delivery driver was aggressive. Let's say the delivery was not on time. Let's like
Right.
5 or 6 different reasons. So if you select delivery, what happens in the survey is it drops down all these alternative options that you can then check quickly. And the key is quickly. So it's about keeping it short, accessible, but also super actionable. Because the beauty of the driver system is that you're also standardizing, right? Talk to a little bit about why standardizing can add a ton of value to a program.
Yeah, a lot of times customers want to rant in surveys and they're all over the place. They might go different directions. We want them to do that. The comment box is still there for them. But by standardizing and having a real set of drivers, you're able to get the customer to focus on the areas that are important to you and to them.
Mhm.
The other aspect I love about the drivers is you can really set those up to be owned by different departments. So use delivery as an example.
Yeah,
So you can have your shipping department see all of that feedback and keep it focused in on that. So that standardization gives that group something to work on and focus on
yeah,
as that feedback flows through. And
absolutely.
then you can develop response. What does that close the loop look like in those actions you take based on what they click on? So it really keeps that information flowing. And the other point, because you bring up a really good point here, if you have a really solid, personalized, good set of drivers, that will eliminate. It's the equivalent of like having 20 questions, 30 questions. Each driver is like asking, what did you think of the driver's friendliness?
Yeah.
What did you think of the driver's timeliness? And if you could eliminate all those and put them in a quick click cascading, you get a lot more information in a very short period of time.
And just to follow up on that, I think we think one of the cardinal sins of a CX program is asking 100 questions. We've
Uh,
all been there where you're stuck in a survey and they trick you with like the little line that kind of is like, you're almost there. After the second page, it's like you're halfway, but you know that it slowly gets even tougher to finish that line because it's such a long survey.
yeah,
We are, just think of it the exact opposite end of that spectrum. We want it to be as quickly and as painless as possible for the end user, because Seth Meyers is right. Like, surveys are kind of a tough ask in a lot of situations, but in B2B, if you make it quick and make it painless, we found the results can really be quite substantial. I mean, we have customers that are in the 98% response rate range. We have our average is, I think, 20%. So it's pretty significant if you do it the right way.
yeah, yeah. And again, through the personalization also, you have the customer's name, you kind of know what they bought and what their experience is. So shape that survey in that form. So not just the drivers, but even how you communicate to that person. Hello, Ian. Thanks for visiting us last week or being a customer for 3 years.
Yeah,
We'd love your feedback.
absolutely. Speaking of communication, bringing us to the next tip number 4. Let's go. You ready for this? All right. So what the heck is a pre-invite and how can people use it?
I learned this young. Teachers did this with me, and I learned this as an educator throughout my life. You got to tell people what you're going to do before you do it.
Yeah.
You prepare them for it, right?
Yeah.
Those random surveys that pop up, you're like, oh, who's this from? What's this about? Why are we doing this? And a pre-invite is a great way to kind of prime that wheel, get that person ready, and expect what is coming.
Yeah.
And you said this earlier, but how special would you feel to get an email from a CEO or a chief, marketing officer like yourself to say, "Hey, I would love to know how my company is doing. I want you to be honest, brutally honest, and give us that feedback." And I think this gives you an opportunity to let that customer know when it's coming, how long it will take, and what you plan to do with that feedback.
Yeah. I think the pre-invite too, it also is just good practice. Like, tell people exactly what to expect, set expectations early. And I think if you set the right tone in the relationship, especially in B2B, like if you say, hey, like, we're going to ask you for feedback and we expect you to give it to us, because that's super critical to how we run our business. That's how we impact your experience with us. And it's just about setting expectations. So pre-invite is a great way to do it. And I think, to your point, a CEO sending a pre-invite saying, hey, we really value your feedback. Like, we're going to send it on this date at this time. Like, be on the lookout for it. If you don't get it, reach out. We'll send you a custom link. Like, all of these great things are really best practice.
And
All right.
another one I'd like to throw in just really quickly on the
Yeah.
pre-invite. I would say it goes even before the survey. When you sign that contract or you establish that renewal, whatever that service or that relationship you have,
Mhm.
stipulate it there too. Make it part of your agreement in the handshake at the beginning
Yeah.
to say that feedback's important to us and we are going to be sending a survey out to you and we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So this one is maybe a different one for some of the CX practitioners out there. So, but maybe not. But multi-channel outreach. So this is probably more of a marketing one that I can maybe cover. But I'm going to kick it to you again first, Karen. Putting you on the hot seat today. So what are your thoughts about multi-channel outreach?
Yeah, we see this a lot with a lot of our different customers we work with and different organizations, different fields, but not everybody is as hooked into their emails they once were,
Yeah.
right? We mentioned spam filters, for example, earlier, and how that kind of is shielding and blocking a lot of feedback that flows through. But I think this ties to convenience and where somebody would actually complete something. I had a boss once tell me, go to their office, don't make them come to yours.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that with a good campaign. Can you ask people for feedback in an environment or on a channel that makes sense to them? So
Yeah.
whether it's WhatsApp that we see in a lot of European or South American countries, if it's SMS that we see that's real popular too here in the States and throughout, think about your customer and where they spend their time and how you engage with them to begin with.
Yeah.
So even a pop-up inside a software platform could be another way you reach out and get to them more easily and makes it better for them. Because here's the thing, and I know we joked about Seth making it a pain in the butt and how long it is, but wouldn't it be easier if it was just in an environment that you could respond quickly, honestly, and move on with your life instead of having to stop, open, turn on your computer? I mean, most of us don't even turn our main computers on a lot
Yeah.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
So can you put it in an environment that makes it easier for the person to fill that out?
Yeah. And that's a great point. I think Just to build on that, as a marketer and as somebody that works very closely with a sales team, so what we're seeing at the very forefront of communication to potential prospects is that email deliverability is going down, open rates are going down. We're also seeing that across the board on a couple different channels, but the concept of multi-channel is what is actually the difference maker in getting more messages landing in the right places with the right potential prospects. So taking that insight and applying it to a CX program, adding multiple channels. Let's say you send a pre-invite via email, you have your SAM or your CSM call the customer to again set expectation that there might be a survey coming on this date and time. The survey goes out via email. If you don't get a response, you send a text reminder. There's things you can do to really increase the availability of feedback in your business. And a lot of it has to do with multi-channel sending, because that's honestly the trend this whole industry is going. And I'm talking about just communication as a whole,
Right.
not just sales marketing, but CX is not immune to this. Their deliverability will drop eventually. So get ahead of it, start testing multi-channel sending. This is definitely something we're doing with our clients. We're seeing great results. Definitely encourage that. Anything else to add on that, Cary?
I just know the market research shows that spend is higher, engagement's higher, retention's higher if you engage on multiple channels. One
Yeah,
channel, it's kind of like having a single point of contact at a company. That's deadly, but only using one channel to communicate with your customer is also very, very dangerous. So it's
great.
beneficial to have those multiple channels.
Great segue into our next topic, which we feel like is maybe the most dangerous thing you can do, or maybe not do. But
Yeah.
closing the loop. What are your thoughts on this one?
I can't say this enough or often enough, but at the end of the day, if you're going to run a campaign, if you're going to ask questions and ask someone to put in what I would call a valuable amount of time to fill these out, even a minute or two,
Yep.
and you want them to be honest and consistently do that for you, you got to do something with it. You have to take action.
Yeah.
Closing the loop. A lot of people think about closing the loop with the customer who gave you the feedback. Super important. Reach out quickly, let them know you heard from them. Time matters. Keep it short, get to them quickly. Make sure that you're listening, do a deeper dive, ask a few more questions, but then do something with that. There's an internal loop that you have to also consider and make sure you take that back within your organization and talk about that. If
Yeah.
you are not acting on feedback, if you're not listening to it and putting it in front of your teams constantly, why bother asking to begin with? Again, it's an exercise of vanity, hoping your score is going to be good.
Yeah.
And all that we're talking about is improving response rate. People are more likely to give you feedback if they know you heard them last time and you did something about it.
Absolutely. I'm gonna give a pro move right now because I love this story and it's from one of our customers. So one of our great B2B clients is obviously closing the loop with their customers because that's what we generally only work with clients that want to follow up on feedback. We do not believe in researchism or keeping feedback siloed in an Excel sheet. That's like the exact opposite of our approach. This client was so invested in following up with customers that they had the CEO call one of their clients that had an issue that gave a low score. The CEO picked up the phone and called them himself. Said, "Hey, I know you're having an issue. My name's blah blah blah. I'm the CEO of the company that you're working with. We value your business. We're gonna fix it." And the guy responded on the other end by saying, "Holy crap, you're the CEO. This is amazing. I never
Yeah.
expected this. You have a customer for life." And that is the power of following up on feedback with the CEO. Without the CEO, people feel heard. They feel like they're important. That's such a critical bit of creating that flywheel of CX, which, if you get feedback, following up, you're going to get more on the back end, which is the big, not so secret that if you follow up and you actually say, "Hey, we heard your feedback and we're going to do something about it," your response rates, I mean, you've seen it with your clients, Cary, they start to like just jump up because people know that if they give feedback, they're going to get, somebody reaching out to them and saying either thank you for the feedback or this is what we're doing with it.
Yeah, definitely. I love the flywheel example because instead of closing the loop, you're feeding that loop,
Yes.
right? You're really priming that wheel to keep spinning for you.
Yeah.
And here we are talking about that example year after year, Their customers still talk about it. The employees in the team still talk about it. People come and go, unfortunately, but that story has stuck. And, it makes a difference when someone reaches back out and says, I really do care and I want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note, I don't know if we can end in a stronger manner than that, Cary. So we're going to thank everybody for joining the live stream. Obviously, check the reruns on YouTube and LinkedIn. But there's your 6 response rate tips for the week. Thank you, Cary, our VP of Customer Experience, for joining me today, man.
Yeah, love being here with you. Look forward to being part of more of these live streams coming up, and see some of you guys in the academy. Also, we have a link on top there. You can check out one of our measure course that will actually give you a lot more tips on how to improve your response rate.
Absolutely. Catch us every week on Thursdays. We'll be going live 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. CET every week. So catch us then. Thanks, guys. Bye.